Hello, parents. Welcome to Unmuted Love. I'm your host, C. Eshelman. I'm coming here to you today after Valentine's Day, which you already had an episode with maybe what seems like a strange follow-on. But to me, they kind of go hand in hand. So the emotional journey of parenting children with trauma is quite something. And most of us experience all kinds of things. And so today I am going to be talking about parents and how they are navigating the complex realities of raising children impacted by early trauma, adoption challenges, and developmental difficulties. Parenting in these circumstances feels way overwhelming. It's lonely and emotionally draining. If you've ever felt stuck in a cycle of frustration, exhaustion, or fear, know, my friends, that you are not alone. And I know you know that, but sometimes it helps when people say it. Today, we're going to explore the hidden feelings that often weigh heavy on us: frustration, sorrow, anxiety, and how recognizing them is the first step toward finding relief and healing. Sometimes people don't put words to things, and I am trying to do that for you in case it hasn't occurred to you that these are the things that you are rightfully feeling. I want to start with something a parent recently shared with me. She said, "I feel like I'm always teetering on the edge, like I might lose my mind at any moment." Sound familiar? Right. It sounded familiar to me. I shouldn't have smiled when she said it, but I did, because yes, yes, that's how most of us feel, right? Many parents of children with traumatic histories feel as though they're in a constant state of distress. If you can relate to that, I want to remind you, this doesn't mean you're failing as a parent at all. You're carrying an enormous burden, and it's understandable that it takes a toll on you. It would on anybody. So don't think that you are less than because you're not holding up super well. And if you are holding up super well, then you probably have a cape on your back, and awesome. Somehow in your life, you got resilience, and it's really paying off here. So awesome. Pat yourself on the back, take a congratulatory look at your cape, and fly on, because you are awesome. You are awesome even if you don't have a cape, even if you didn't get resilience in your early life, and even if you're struggling no matter how you find yourself here. Many caregivers I work with describe feeling tense all the time, but when we take a closer look, that tension is often covering deeper emotions. So I want to name those feelings: frustration, grief, and fear. Let's start with frustration. Frustration is more than just impatience. It's a sense of being overwhelmed, stuck, or powerless. Parenting a child with trauma often brings unexpected challenges, which of course no one ever expects the kinds of challenges we're going to get in our families once we bring our children home. And those challenges can lead to thoughts like, I feel like my entire life revolves around my child's struggles, or I never imagined parenting would be this hard, or I don't know if I can do this anymore, or when is the cavalry coming to rescue me, right? This feeling of kind of despair and helplessness. It's natural to feel these ways. Frustration often arises from unfulfilled expectations, the way we thought parenting would be versus the reality we're living. Acknowledging it is not about blaming your child or yourself. It's about creating space for your feelings so they don't control you. They don't just take you down from behind and you didn't even see them coming. Also, it's about facing reality. Frankly, the cavalry is not coming. This is your journey, and you can be in the passenger seat of your child's wagon or in the driver's seat of your family life. Stepping into your agency as a parent is important, even if you aren't quite sure how to do it yet. Let's talk about grief a little bit. Grief in parenting, especially therapeutic parenting, isn't often talked about, but it's so real. It's the mourning of the family experiences you envisioned but haven't had yet. Brené Brown describes grief as including these three things. Number one is loss, mourning what could have been. Two is longing, desiring something different from what is. And three, feeling unanchored, constantly trying to find your footing in shifting circumstances. For many parents, grief sounds like this: I always dreamed of being a parent, but this is not what I imagined. Or, we'll never have a happy life together. This is too crazy. It'll never be good. Or, my child struggles so much. Will she ever be normal? When grief remains unaddressed, it can lead to blocked care, a state in which a parent becomes emotionally detached, exhausted, and struggles to connect with their child. Now, I've talked a lot about blocked care in previous episodes on the podcast, because it's often a result of chronic stress, unmet emotional needs, and the overwhelming feeling of failure in trying to meet a child's complex needs when there's near to zero support from family, friends, and society in general. So parenting with emotional exhaustion is hard. Lisa, a mother I know who adopted her son from foster care after early abuse, found herself unable to show affection. His constant defiance made her feel more like a caretaker than a loving mother. Or then there's diminished work performance. Michael, raising his daughter with severe attachment issues, found himself mentally checked out at work. He struggled to stay engaged in meetings, feeling like his energy was completely spent before he even got there. And then there's social withdrawal, that kind of isolation. A parent I know, Catherine, whose son experienced extreme neglect before adoption, began to avoid gatherings because she felt judged for her son's outbursts. Her grief and resentment made her feel isolated and eventually depressed. And then there's the resentment, the plain old resentment, and the burnout. I spoke with John, another parent, who had spent years trying different therapies for his son's aggressive behaviors. He found himself feeling resentful to the bone. He no longer looked forward to time with his son and felt guilty for his detachment. He yelled too much and hated who he had become. And frankly, he had similar feelings about his son, which made him feel terrible, guilty, and shameful. Blocked care is not a sign of failure. So I'm going to say that again, folks. Blocked care is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that a parent's emotional reserves have been drained, and the well is dry. Recognizing this state is crucial because healing begins when a parent acknowledges their grief and seeks support. Getting support, I know, is very hard, but it is necessary. Self-care is so necessary. And then I want to say a little bit about the ever-present experience of fear. Raising a child with trauma-related challenges comes with a unique set of fears, doesn't it? If my child struggles this much now, I think she'll be in jail by 18. Another parent said, "How is this affecting my other children and my marriage?" Well, I think you know, because you're feeling more and more distant, you have more and more fights, you're arguing more and more about the kids and how to parent, and you feel like your love is being lost. And then if my child loses access to school or services, what will we do? What will happen? Where will we go? Fear is exhausting. It keeps parents in a heightened state of anxiety, always bracing for the next crisis. But like frustration and grief, fear loses some of its grip when we acknowledge it and we get the support we need. Now, there's never going to be enough support, right? Because you actually need a couple of nannies with specialized care skills, and you aren't going to have that. So there are some other things. We'll talk about those in a minute. So the path to emotional healing is to recognize yourself in these emotions and, ask yourself, okay, well then what now? Yeah, I have these emotions. What now? Healing starts with awareness. The parents I speak with feel incredible sense of relief when they feel their emotions and when they share them with other people. Witnessing emotion is really important for people. So I act as a witness often to the raw, painful, sometimes disgusting, sometimes embarrassing feelings that people have. Witnessed shame, for example, dissipates. And so I spend a lot of time listening to other people's shame and then supporting them to allow it to go, because it's not their shame. They don't deserve to carry shame. You don't know what you don't know. And until you know better, you can't do better. So here are a few steps to help you begin on your healing journey. Now, these are pretty basic, and many of you have started them or completed them, or you did them long ago. But let me tell you, you kind of have to keep doing them over and over. So let's start with step 1. Identify your emotions. Write them down. Say them out loud and share them with someone who understands, right? Don't share them with people that don't understand. And don't share them with people you think will shame you further. Most of us have either a trusted friend, family member, or a therapist who does get it. And if you don't, then it's time for you to seek someone, right? I don't know if you have to put an ad in the paper to find someone. Do people read papers anymore? I don't think so. How do you go about finding these people? Well, you can go to support groups. You can go online often and find some support groups. But be careful. Sometimes you can go online and find some really negative posts that make you feel like, yep, I'm a terrible person. But you aren't, especially if you're trying to get help. So remember that. Stay away from the ones that are super negative and find the ones that lift you up. You can still talk about your feelings, as negative or as painful as they are, especially if the goal is to release them, not to hang on to them and resent your child further into the future. Number 2 is to seek out support. This might be my Love Matters Therapeutic Parenting Program. You can find a link for it in the show notes, or other parent support groups, trusted friends, family, therapists who get you. I said that a minute ago, but I wanted to underline it a little more because it's so important. I love my Love Matters Therapeutic Parenting Program because parents there really lift each other up. They're so smart. They really get therapeutic parenting after they've been in this program for a while. And you can go there and actually get advice that works. How is that? It's so awesome. So anyway, I put that out there. This is a shameless plug for the program, but really it's a shameless plug for help for you, because that's what I really want, is to get the word out that there is help. You don't have to suffer alone. There is support, and you can get it online, which means wherever you are, however isolated you feel, there is support. Number 3 is give yourself permission to feel those emotions. Your emotions don't make you weak, bad, or incapable. They make you human. And 4, practice self-compassion. Healing takes time, and even small steps forward are meaningful. There are some great books out there on self-compassion, and I'll put those in the show notes too. And finally, rebuild your connection. Addressing blocked care may involve reconnecting with your child in new ways, seeking therapeutic parenting strategies, and taking respite breaks to restore emotional strength. I probably should take the may out of that sentence and just say it does involve it, right? It does involve reconnecting with your child in new ways, seeking therapeutic parenting strategies, and getting some respite. Everybody needs respite. You actually need about 24 hours away from your child. I would say about once a month in order for your nervous system to reset. You are on such a profound journey as a parent to a child who's faced early trauma. The path is undeniably challenging. Yet within these trials lies the potential for profound growth and connection. I am such a better person after parenting my 2 children and doing the work I needed to do to become the parent they needed instead of the one I thought I wanted to be, which I turned out not to be anyway, right? And so I had to learn a new way so that I could end up being the parent I wanted to be, which was loving and supportive and caring toward my kids instead of chronically blocked. Let me just say, grief here is not merely a response to unmet expectations, but a testament to the depth of your love and commitment. Acknowledging this grief allows for a transformative process, enabling you to move from sorrow to understanding and acceptance. You deserve to move from that to something much more beautiful. This journey reflects the resilience inherent in the human spirit. I believe that in the bottom of my soul. Experiencing block care is a natural response to prolonged stress and emotional fatigue. You're not bad. It's crucial to approach blocked care with self-compassion, recognizing that emotional withdrawal signals unmet needs within yourself. By addressing these needs, you pave the way for renewing connections with your child, fostering an environment where healing is reciprocal. Now, you don't get very much from your children that way, but that's what we're trying to get, so we need to be able to give it in order to get it. Hope in this journey is not passive, but an active engagement with the possibilities of change and growth. Research tells us that parents who seek support, whether through therapy, support groups, educational resources, often experience positive shifts in their relationship with their children. This proactive stance benefits your well-being and models adaptive coping strategies for your child. And that's the beauty of the Love Matters Therapeutic Parenting Program that I provide parents all over the country. Investing in your mental and emotional health creates a foundation for you and your child to build resilience. This interconnectedness underscores the importance of viewing self-care not as a luxury, because it isn't, but as a critical component of effective parenting. It's a necessity. Remember, the path of parenting a traumatized child is fraught with challenges, but it's also illuminated by moments of profound connection and growth. You can feel on top of the world the day your child slips a note under your door that says, "I know you don't want to hear that I'm sorry, so I won't say it. I'll just do better." Whoa, that's really progress, I think, right? That is so much better than a forced "I'm sorry." So remember, embrace the journey with patience and self-compassion, acknowledging that each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to the interwoven tapestry of healing for both you and your child and your whole family. I think that's it for me today. talked about a lot, and you're probably trying to process all of that. So thank you so much for joining me on Unmuted Love. I will see you again next week in our next episode. Take this with you wherever you go. Your love matters when more than love is required. I'll see you next week.